Hello my dear friends, welcome to my channel. So this episode I'm going to talk about the Gleaming depths 2. I know there's a plenty of guides around on the internet, on YouTube already, but here is my 2 cents. It's not going to repeat how you're going to pass through each stage. Instead, I'm going to focus on all the tips I gathered during my few days grinding. How you actually start from not really equipped it for this kind of rate to the stage that you can much easily running through them. So this is not for a min-max build and how quickly you can run through. This is about relax and casually run through the rate, still with good amount of output, about the reasonable time you can spend on each rate. So firstly, what level you should be able to run the rate. I think if you are about 200 at that stage, more or less you should be at least fit the minimum requirement to run through the rate with a team of 4. And yes, I mean team of 4, not running solo. I still don't understand the reason that you want to run this rate solo. This is a multiple player online game. I prefer to play the hardest bit of the events with all the other players instead of just by myself. Around 200 level, you should be able to have a good enough build with all the perks and some of the legendary perks you need, and you should have the right amount of gear and the weapon. So the basic requirement for the gear is you should have a full set of power armor. It can be troubleshooter or it can be overeater, but not necessarily. A full set of power armor should be good enough, and some of the stages you don't really need or don't really want to stay in your power armor. Before you go into the raid, eat as many food buff as you can to increase your endurance. That's the most important thing. To increase your agility, to boost your maximum amount of AP. All of this gonna give you a bit of better chance to survive through the raid. But they are, again, not 100% necessary. As long as you have the full set of power armor, I would suggest to get your Gleaming plasma gun ready. It's better to be a anti-armor at the first star. Second star is fast fire rate. And third star is, I don't know, it's not really important. But as long as you have the anti-armor and fast fire rate, it should be good enough. Not necessary again. It's great if you already have the new mode that Bethesda put in the game in the patch for this gun. The most valuable mode is the accelerated barrel, which increases the speed of the firing of the gun. That is a straight 20% DPS increase on this gun. And if you can, prime it, get enough ultra-sight plasma core. I mean, you don't need to have hundreds of them, but I would say at least 50. You can easily craft the plasma core and then produce the ultra-sight version of it. But if you don't have the primed version, that's fine. That's not a big problem either. A normal version should be good enough. And Gleaming plasma is the best heavy gun in the game at the moment. So if you can, I would suggest you have that gun. And in terms of perk loads, a normal power armor heavy gunner build should work, especially with the new revamped perk cards. If you don't know what perk cards you want to use, go to check one of my previous video that actually explains all the new perk cards. The basic idea is use as many perk cards as you can, which gives you the evasion possibility, the deflecting possibility, such as the evasion perk cards, the thrombidity, the dodge, and the bullet shield. If you want, I can share with you my build, but I don't really think, again, it's necessary. And the last thing required is your cam. Make sure you have enough super stim with you. Again, don't need to have much because they are heavy. I normally go in there with around 20 to 30, and after you finish each raid, you'll be rewarded a lot of super steam to top up. Coffee, community, better to have, but again, not 100% necessary. And before you go into the depths the first time, have the expectation you're gonna die. You're gonna die a lot. In my first run with another 3 players, random ones, not someone I knew, I died over 10 times through the whole raid. But we managed to finish it with all the basic gears as I just mentioned. Now, the first boss, the robot, is probably where I died the most. It's purely because I thought a full set of Overeater Union power armor with the Burn Survivor will give me some kind of tankiness against it, but no. When you fight this robot, use the pillar well. Always stay in cover when the robot's facing you, especially when he starts or preparing to shoot the right lasers, the thin right lasers from the 2 laser guns on his arm. Those lasers are not dealing energy damage. It does not have energy type of keyword, so the absorption legendary perk does not work on it. And it is really powerful and fast fire rate. A full health armor power build will be taken down in a blink. So don't too keen on output your damage to it. Move back to the pillar whenever the robot turns to face you. And don't forget, always periodically stim up yourself. To take down the shield generator on its back, the best legendary effect will be the limb damage and the enforcer with the pepper shaker gun. But again, it's not necessary. It only accelerates the process to take down the shield. If you don't have a good pepper shaker, you can always stick with your Gatling plasma. The top 1 tip for this stage is do not try to put as many DPS as you want or you intend. Survival hidden behind the pillar is the key. And run to the shelter as early as you can. You can always keep on shooting the robots inside the shelter before the doors close. If you can do that, you will be able to get through him without death. Well, with the precondition that every single one of your teammates keep on doing the same as you do. Later on, with the 4-star legendary modes, you will be much more powerful. Your team will be able to take down the robot before the first heat up time. But in the beginning, you would expect to spend the 3 shelters before you can take him down. And remember, keep yourself alive is the top priority. Kill the boss in the second. That's how you should do when you fight the first boss. And you will feel really rewarding after you finally defeat him the first time. The annoying thing is each boss will reward you an enormous number of random camps, which will really overload you. So make sure you dump everything that you don't really need during each stage and re-prepare yourself in terms of repairing your gun, get more ammo, get enough stim pack. Once you're really ready, once every single team member is ready, then you can move to the next stage. And the second stage is the refilling of the drill. I know some people probably dislike this stage the most because the stalker can one-hit you. And once you die, you're gonna have to wait a long time before all the other team members died or they finish the stage. And waiting is really the boring part for the raid. Now here's some tips. If you're on PC, make sure you go to the FO76 Nexus website and download the Gleaming Depth ESM mode, which gonna allow you to see through walls where the fuel tank is and where the stalker is, which gonna make it a life changer in the second stage. I don't have the mode during my first run and I just bump into the stalker many times, end up dying. And with that mode you can also see where the fuel tank is. You can plan where you want to go, how you're gonna avoid the stalker and make the life much easier. However, if you are not on PC, unfortunately, then the bad thing you can do is to remember the map. Remember where the fuel tank is. And here is a top-down map for this stage. It's coming from the Flame Duchess website, and she's been really good at preparing those kind of informations. Please visit her website if you need. I'll put her website address in the description down below. That will not show you the location of the stalker, so you will face a bit of challenge if you're not on PC. But again, remembering the map, remembering where the oil tank is, gonna make your life much easier. And in this stage, you don't really need to wear your power armor, especially if you do not have a jetpack on it. A jetpack is 100% necessary for this stage. It's the only thing you can do to jump over a stalker when you really have to. And trust me, there are a lot of opportunities that you have to jump over it. And the delay will kill you. So make sure if you want to do a raid in a better server. Avoid long delays. I've been killed by the stalker 5 meters away when I play in the game on the lagging server. There is no way you can dodge him. And in the right beginning of the stage, 4 of the team members can all go into the tunnel to try to grab the fuel tank as quick as you can, because the mobs will not attack the drill in the very beginning of the stage. But after there, you need to have 1 of your team members stay to guard the drill, and the 3 others to try to loot the fuel tanks. You can be blooded if you want, especially the one who trying to guard the drill, and that's how I normally do. And you will die quite a few times when you start to run raids on this stage as well. I'm afraid there's no way to skip this stage. There are ways to skip other stages, but you cannot skip this stage, unfortunately. And the third stage is probably the easiest one for me in the whole raid. As long as you have 4 people in your team, or 3 probably gonna work as well. That's the best number and most efficient way if you want to play this stage. And make sure all 3 generators is guarded or covered by 3 of your teammates, with 1 teammate focused on dealing damages. If you want, you can play blooded build without power armor in this stage, as long as you remember to put the stims on. There are a few tips to go through this stage quicker. Take Lynx the first, because he can slow you down, he can decomplete your AP. So take him down as the priority. Second tip is don't get too close to Bloodhound. His weapon is a vampire weapon, will deal vast damage up close. But that's it, there's nothing else you really need to pay attention in this stage. If I remember correctly, we made through this stage without single death in the first run. It just take a bit longer when 4 of you are not really high geared for the event. Now the 4th stage is kind of interesting, I would say. You cannot just shoot your path through. The melee damage of the mobs in this stage are very strong, so make sure stay in your power armor, put your jetpack on, remember to steam up yourself. Better not play a blooded build in this stage. And remember, the green smoke will cause damage to both you and the mobs. Oh, I just forgot to mention, if you have a vampire Gatling plasma, it's gonna be great to go through the raid as well, especially the first stage when you're fighting the robot. You can literally tank his attack and kill it quicker by using the deflected damage. And one tip here for a team in this stage is 4 of you should probably want to stay together. So all the mobs will come to the same location and make the explosion of the crystal much more efficient. If you split up, the mobs will split up as well. The damage from the exploded crystal will be less efficient because it will not cover as many mobs as it can. But this stage is really not that difficult as long as you know you have only killed the most by using the explosion of the crystal, and remember to steam up yourself periodically. And then it's just a bit of time consuming to go through it. Then the last stage, you're gonna facing the big serpent. And in this stage, I would prefer to stay in my power armor and remove as many raids as I want to. A blooded build is very easy to be killed by the spray of the serpent. There are a few tips I want to share with you in this stage. If you do that, you try to hit the eyes of the serpent, which is gonna cause 3 times of damage. If you only hit the face, it only gives you 1.5 damage. When the tails pop up, take down the tails first, because every time the tails smash down, gonna take away a piece of the land. You want to keep the land as big as you want to increase the maneuver space during the fight. And thirdly, whenever the snakes start to spray the poison, stick at least 2 silver steams to make sure yourself gonna live through the attack. If you are using a vampire galleon plasma, then you don't really need to worry that too much. You can tank his poisonous spray. Try to avoid any lagging server when you play this stage, because it will only end up with sudden death. You won't be able to heal yourself quicker, and the HP just depletes instantly. And surprisingly, the last stage of the raid is not the most difficult one. With the right gear and cam, you can even solo it without any problem. And after each raid, you will have a high chance to get 3 legendary modes, Vulcan power armor piece, and random legendary gears, and tons of cams and repair kits. So make sure you dump all of them when you can, and be prepared. It's gonna take a while to finish your first raid, even with a full member team. It took us over 2 hours. But tell you what, I enjoyed every second of that 2 hours. That is something really new in Fallout 76. I never had that kind of experience, that kind of high intense experience in this game before. That is definitely a huge plus for Bethesda team. A big shout out to them. That's whoever came up with these raid ideas, he definitely deserves a good promotion. Alright, that's everything I want to share with you. I mean, there's plenty of tips in this video, and most importantly, knowing those tips will not guarantee a smooth run in the raid. It will only make it easier, especially when you start to farm the raid. But after a few times, after you get the good 4-star legendary modes as well as more experience, each raid will be less than 30 minutes. So for me, doing the Gleaming depth raid is the best thing to do in the game to farm legendary gears, 4-star legendary modes, and the Vulcan power armor piece. Alright, that's everything I want to share with you in this video, and I really hope some of the tips gonna make your life easier in the raid. And if you liked the video, please give me a thumb up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. But until next time, Philagans out.